All right, looks like we have a pretty good group in right now, so we'll go ahead and get started. For those of you just jumping on, we want to welcome you to today's webinar. If you have any questions or comments during it, please put it into our chat box or into our question box, and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. And I want to welcome Mindbox, who is doing their first webinar with us, and we're very excited. They're going to discuss automated ERP, use Epicor ERP at its full potential. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Peter, and you should be able to see his screen in just a minute.
Okay, great. I hope you already see my screen.
Yep, you're good.
Great. Okay, so welcome everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're located. I'm very happy, and as it was said, I'm very excited because that's our first webinar we do for the Epicor user group. My name is Piotr Krzysztoporski, and I guess I would be most famous for the most difficult last name. So just call me Peter later on when you will be talking to me. So I'm working at Mindbox. I'm actually vice president of the company, and I'm responsible for ERP department at Mindbox. So our agenda for today is, I will just tell a few words about Mindbox. I know that's typically the most boring parts, so I will do it really quick. Just give me like 5 minutes to let you know about our presence and what we are doing. And then we'll come to the topic of our webinar today, and we'll discuss about automation. So we will discuss why automation is so important, what are the benefits of the automation. We will present you our concept on how we see the automated ERP, what it means for us, what kind of tools we can use. And after, let's say, some kind of a theory session, then I prepared for you a couple of case studies. Of course, we actually have much wider portfolio of projects where we automated processes, but I just selected 4 of them, which I think they might be interested. And actually, for me, they are just as an examples. I hope that they will, let's say, create a situation that you will start thinking about what you can do in your companies. And of course, at the end, we will have a Q&A session. So please feel free to put your questions in the chat. We will try to go through them at the end of the call, or eventually at the end of the call, when we will unmute everyone, we can also just talk. Great. So about Mindbox. So we're actually 15 years in the market. And how we like to present ourselves, we don't want to say that we just implement ERP. Of course, that's what we do, but actually we would like to look on it much wider, and we concentrate and focus on bringing a kind of efficiency and effectiveness to our customers. Yeah? So we try to reinvent enterprises through the modern technology. And in Poland, because that's actually our location, we are recognized by many awards as one of the most fastest growing company in Poland. Right now, we deliver projects in more than 60 countries, so we have this kind of a worldwide presence. Just to give you information about size of the company, so in the last year, our turnover was like $15 million US. So for this part of Europe, it's quite significant amount. From all of these awards we got, I think the one very important for us, it's a award which we get from Epicor in the previous year for the business transformation, and that award we got because we make a significant transformation for one of our customers using ERP. We really transform the business, the way how they work. So our company, we have several business lines, but actually those which we will be discussing today, it's a kind of a area which is related to what we call business management systems, and that's in between also our ERP department, but also another department which we call autonomous enterprise. So we automate things, not only for the ERP systems, we also make a lot of automation for any other kind of a software. And what we do, we actually deliver the full scope from the discovering the needs, creating concept for customers, and then we design, deliver, and at the end we also provide for our customers the maintaining of the solution. So we scale and we maintain. Well, here it's as always, every company would like to show our logos of our companies. So we are cooperating with quite big brands. Maybe you know some of them. If we look into our BMS department, so we currently have cooperate with around 25 consultants. All of them, they are already at least 10 years of experience with ERP systems. And our team is located in Poland, Romania, France, Hungary, and India. So that's where my team is working. Good. So as I promised, I was fairly quick about the company. Of course, if you would like to know more, then don't hesitate to contact us. But let's focus right now on the main topic of our webinar. So today we would like to talk about automation, about processes automation, and the first, I think it's worth to discuss. It's what are the benefits, and I believe that at least those two listed at the beginning, they are very obvious. I mean, I think that everyone knows that if we automate the process, then of course, first what we get is the process is executed faster, and that's obvious, yeah, because automation can work like 20 hours per day. It's the communication could be facilitated during the night, and there is no any kind of human break. So that one is fairly obvious. Yeah. Another one which is also obvious is a cost reduction. Yeah? I mean, typically the human part in each business is the most expensive one. So if we can eliminate humans from some tasks, we can assign them to more effective tasks, then of course that will reduce the cost. But beside of those two, which I said they are obvious, there are other benefits, and the one which I very like, and we discussed that recently with our customers, and this is also what they told us, what they got from the automation, is a business continuity. I think we see it very clearly looking into last 2 years when the pandemic has started, and we had a situation that our offices were closed. Yeah, the people had to work remotely. They couldn't work because of a sickness, leave, and so on and so on. And that was creating a situation that many companies were affected. That well, they didn't have full staff. Yeah, the processes were done much slower because of someone absence. And if you automate the process, which means that the human input is lower, then it means that you are able to execute faster, and you're able to execute even if your personnel is sick, for example. So just a very simple example. Let's assume that you're getting your sales order from your customers. So if you right now are doing that manually, that someone has to key in that to the system, and of course if that person will be absent, then this process will be delayed. Yeah. But if this is done by any kind of automation, by software robots or by DI or whatever tool, then of course you could continue the process, and that's something what is assuring your business continuity. So that's the third benefit I mentioned. Another benefit, which maybe is not so obvious, is a quality. Because again, yeah, if the process is done manually by the human, then of course those processes that they tend to be done in a different way. We as a human, it's very hard for us to make exactly the same process, every time the same way. I mean, we tend sometimes to make some mistakes. We tend sometimes to skip some steps. So it means that the process is not driven always in the same way, which at the end, it might affect the lower quality of the process. If the process is automated, if the process is done by robots or by any other kind of automation, then you could be sure that the process is done always the same way. And that means that you could control the quality. You could make the quality better by reviewing if the process is done correctly or not. But it's much easier to measure that kind of process, and it's much easier to have a good quality. And of course, what else? If when humans are working manually, okay, they very often they do some mistakes, mistype, things like that, and that could be eliminated with automation. And the last, but also very important, it's how you can assign your employees. Again, I know that the business situation might be different in your countries, but for example, in our region of world right now, we have very, very low unemployment, which means that it's very difficult to get new employee to the company, and it's also very difficult to keep them, that they will stay with you. And especially that's the problem with the young people. Yeah? If you hire young people, they very often they just want to work with you like for, I don't know, 6 months, 12 months, and then they move to another job because they get bored. And that could happen if they are forced to do this, boring, repetitive tasks. So what we say, when you automate the task, and especially the automation is related to this repetitive tasks, which are boring for the people. If you automate them, you can assign your personnel to do much more creative and much more effective tasks, and that also will create a situation that you could keep those people working for you much longer. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look into this picture, and this picture is very interesting. Well, it was created by one of our sales engineers. You might find it very difficult to read, but well, it only shows that actually, if we think about automation, there are many different ways. There are many different ways. There are many different tools that will allow you to automate the things. And actually, well, today, because we talked to the Epicor users, I will show you, of course, examples which they use the Epicor tool, the tools like BPMs, like Service Connect, like EDI conductors, which are available in the Epicor. But we do not limit to only those tools. Yeah, I mean there are much more other tools on the market. Like first of all, software robots. There are tools like OCR, like artificial intelligence model, and all of that. They can work all together. They could be kind of orchestrated into one big solution. So I think that's important to have a good advisor who will help you to select the right tools. Yeah? Some of the automation you can do just, as I said, using purely Epicor tools. Yeah? Especially if the process is the process you want to automate it, if that process is only referring to Epicor, then okay, we will use BPM, for example. But there are some processes which are touching many different systems. Yeah, like for example, you have to go through the process starting from external CRM. Then maybe you could enter some data to your ERP. Then maybe you need to fill some other information in some external reporting software. And if you have this combination of multiple softwares, again, yeah, maybe you will be forced to not only use Epicor tools, but maybe you could try to use the other tools. And I will be showing this examples here later on. So I think the most important to understand from this slide is that there are many tools, and they could be used depending on on your needs, of course, but also depending on if you are automating things inside of one software, or maybe you need to automate things across multiple softwares. So let's have a look into the concept of the automated ERP. That's what we very often discuss with our customers using Epicor. So we treat ERP as a base. Yeah, it's like a solid base, and we are building the solution around the ERP. Yeah? So of course, what we could do, we can do integration with other softwares. We can use BPMs inside of Epicor, which will automate process inside of Epicor. We can use OCR because and document management systems, because again, yeah, if we think about ERP, there's many documents coming in, so some of them they need to be digitized with OCR. Also, as a part of automation, we can treat any kind of CRM and business intelligence solution, because again, that automate your reporting, for example, that automate your contact with your customer. And on top of that, we also have the RPA tool, which is abbreviation for robotic process automation, and we have of course artificial intelligence. And we actually just to show you a little bit what our portfolio. So if you look, some of those tasks can be done by Epicor ERP directly. For robotic process automation, we actually work with the UiPath software. For DMS and OCR, we work with Palette and AB. For BI, of course, we work with Epicor Data Analytics, and we also have AI models which we use in our solution. We call them like Mindbox AI, but again, it depends, because sometimes there are models which are already available on the market and we just need to use them, or sometimes we have to develop completely new model from the scratch with our with our engineers. So yeah, let's have a look into case studies. Yeah, let's have a look at what we did for our customers. The first example I'm going to show is the AP process. And again, yeah, someone could say, well, there is nothing special about this process. Yeah, this probably many companies they already automated this long time ago, but actually we extend this automation further because we use the artificial intelligence models. And so what was the situation? So before we started the project, our customer, they were already using the document management system, but they were entering this data there manually. Then inside of the document management system, they had all this approval process, and then they had already built integration between document management system and their ERP system. So that was already there, but they were looking for something more. And so what we did, first of all, we implemented the OCR. So they haven't been forced anymore to enter data manually to the DMS system. And also, we actually replaced the accountant person in this process, because even if the document was already in the document management system, still there was a need that accountant was going there and just selecting into which account specific costs should be booked. And we replaced that. So actually, how it works. So first of all, the OCR that could work with multiple sources. This animation shows you that it could read the data from your email, that could read the data from the scanner, but also it could also read the data from the mobile. Yeah? So if someone gets the invoice, you can just make a picture using your mobile and also send this to OCR to be executed. So right now, I'm going to show you a very quick video. I hope you could see it now. So what you see on the screen now is a process of the documents are recognized by the OCR. The OCR right now recognized that that document, it was just scanned, is a European invoice type, which means for OCR that the OCR will be looking for some specific fields here, like the supplier code, invoice number, and so on. And right now, when the documents were processed, they are preliminarily recognized. So the system were able to recognize, for example, oh, here is a invoice number, here is an invoice date, and so on. And that goes to data verification. So it means that in some cases, the software can recognize the information by themselves. But in some cases, the software is not sure where is the date. And actually, right now, you see that the operator is helping this OCR. And right now, the software has recognized, okay, so here is the invoice number, here's the date. And by the way, this model is built on the artificial intelligence, which means that it's using the machine learning technique. What it means? It means that even if specific document from supplier will be not recognized the first time, and it will require some help from the operator, but maybe also it will require the same help in the second time, third time. But after a few times, this document, the layout of the document will be already recognized automatically by the software, and when the same supplier will send, I don't know, invoice on 5th time or 10th time, it will be automatically recognized, and the software will already know where are the specific fields. Okay, and what we did, so that was, again, nothing special. I mean, we have seen a lot of such solutions, but we did more. What we did, we took the whole history of bookings for that company. We were able to get the description. Yeah? So on each invoice, you see the description. Yeah? Like, okay, this is a invoice for, I don't know, fuel. This is invoice for marketing things and so on. What you see here, sorry, it's Polish, because actually we were doing that for Polish company. But so we put this into artificial intelligence model, yeah, that we sent a few thousand invoices from the history. We said, okay, this description, it means that this is probably fuel cost, and this description means that this is probably marketing cost. And with that information, of course, there was information associated with a proper chart of account, a proper account on the chart of account. And this model right now is able to recognize. So even if right now the new invoice will come with a description which was not in their history, but the description will be similar, then the robot will automatically assign the account. And actually, what you see here on this video, it's right now this information, it's done automatically. In this, there's no human intervention. Yeah? So robot logs login into the DMS system. Based on the information from OCR, the robot knows what are the values, what are the account number that's coming from artificial intelligence model. And right now, this invoice is absolutely booked by the robot. Yeah. So accountant person doesn't need even to log in there and just to say, okay, that should be booked here. It is recognized by artificial intelligence. Great. So actually, just looking into what were the benefits achieved by our customer, actually to understand what was the size of the company, they are processing around 4,000 invoices per month. Yeah? So let's say 50,000 invoices yearly. That's how many documents they got. And actually, after investing into this project, they got the return on investment after 11 months. So I think that was very good investment, and they see very quick ROI on that. And just to also see how it works right now, you know, from technical perspective, right now, to prepare the XML file by OCR, to go through the AI model to prepare the posting for the lines, it took 90 seconds for OCR, 45 seconds for artificial intelligence. And actually, it means that invoice, when it comes into the system, it is like almost immediately posted into the DMS system, and then it's just waiting for the final acceptance, because of course in this process we have a human who is just like accepting. Yeah. And right now, every invoice, it might be the full process from receiving to the final acceptance right now is from 2 to 5 hours. And before they implemented that solution, the invoice was waiting in the queue for around 5 days. So you could see how. So first of all, they got very good return on investment. So they simply saying save the money. but also they save a lot of time. Yeah? From 5 days, they managed to shorten it to the 2 to 5 hours each document. Another example, which I think might be also interesting for you, and this one actually is, so the previous example, as you saw, it was a mix of different tools, yeah, because we were using OCR, we were using DMS, and we were using software robots and artificial intelligence. The example I will show now, it's more on Epicor side. Actually, with this one, we did based on the Service Connect, but actually right now we are rewriting that to the REST API, yeah, because again, you probably know that Epicor approach is to replace Service Connect interfaces and go directly to REST API, which is more modern architecture, and it gives better results. So it was written already like 2 years ago, but right now we are rewriting that to API. But what it does, so it is a kind of an interface with the shipping company. Yeah? So our customers, they are producing some stuff, and actually they have a lot of packages. Yeah? So they have like small, medium-sized packages, and when they are ordering the truck, they typically need to put many different delivery addresses into the truck, many different packages. Yeah? And in the past, they were doing that completely manually. Right now, they have all of this information inside of Epicor. So inside of Epicor, they know exactly where they need to ship the goods. They send this information to the logistic partner. So this is the information is sent by Service Connect. It is like collecting multiple orders. It is calculating the size of the truck, and it's sent to the logistic partner. Then what is done, the logistic partner is sending back the information to them, because they are supposed to print the labels with the barcodes, but those labels they are given by the logistic partner, because they know exactly what route they will use to deliver the goods. So for them, it's important that these labels are given by the logistic partner. So this information comes into Epicor from logistic partner. The documents are printed. So first of all, we print the labels, which are sticked on the package. We also print all of this kind of picking list, packing list, and so on. And when the truck comes in, this is already prepared. You know, the customer, they just load into the truck, and then it is automatically sent to the customers. And actually, the benefit is that our customer, they can track the status of the delivery automatically in the system, because they have this connection to the web page for this shipping company, and also their customers can track that. Yeah, because we also send the information to the customers. What is the tracking number used by the logistic partner? Okay, so what were the benefits? Well, in this example, actually, our customer, they were sending around 1,000 packages per month, so they got the return of investment after 6 months. And well, first of all, they eliminate almost any manual work. They accelerate the process by 50%, and actually they eliminate the mistakes, because in the past, when they were doing manually, they very often had a situation that they put something into the package, but they send it to the incorrect customer. Yeah? Right now, that's no longer a problem for them. Good. Another example, the third one, it's a reminder. By the way, as you can see, maybe it's worth to mention here, if you think about automation, those projects, they might be very different in sense of the complexity of the project. Yeah. The first example I gave you of using AI model, OCR, and so on, that one was obviously quite a complex one. Actually, it took us roughly 6 months to deliver to the customer. But this small example right now about reminders, again, that was something fairly small. Yeah? Like, you know, we did it within like 2 weeks. Yeah. So if you think about automation, you know, you could either automate some very big things, but also you could automate small things. So About reminders, the idea was to send automatically reminders about unpaid invoices to the customers. And again, at the very beginning, that was done manually. There was someone in the accountant department who's like doing that every month, like running for the Epicor, running reports, sending, and that was manual process. So we developed like a separate exe file, which was connected to the scheduler for the Epicor. And actually, what it's doing is just preparing the email. There is an attachment attached to the email, and it is automatically sent. Yeah? And actually, if we look about the attachment, again, we prepare some kind of a rule, because we want to send like a different reminder to the European Union customers. We were sending another reminder to the US companies, and also there was we distinguish if customers, let's say, delaying the payment only like for a few days, or maybe if the customer is delaying the payments for, I don't know, 3 months. Yeah, so also we were using different style of the report, so customer was getting different attachment here to the email. That was fairly small project. However, for this company, they were sending like around 800 reminders every month. So actually, when it was done by human, but manually by a person, it was taking like almost 2 days. Yeah? So almost 2 days every month, one person has to work on it. Yeah. When we automated that, right now it takes just several minutes. And of course, as a result, it improved the collection of receivables for our customer. Good. And the last example, the last case study, it's again technology which is used completely outside of Epicor, but this is a good example that we can combine different technologies. Yeah, and here we combine technology related to the chatbot. That was actually the reason for this project was that our customer they struggle because the accountant department struggle because there was many questions from sales department about what is the status of invoice, if the customer already paid the invoice or not, if the invoice was already booked for the customer, and so on. So the accountant, they've been called or emailed by the sales department, and they got a lot of questions during the month, yeah, asking still the same. Yeah, did the customer pay the invoice? Yeah, did we book already the invoice, and so on. So to avoid this situation, to make life a little bit easier for the accountant department, we prepare for them a chatbot. And actually, in chatbot, we use kind of a framework from the WebPath, but it was built based on the Teams. Yeah? So actually, this chatbot is working in Teams, and it can just answer the question put on the chat. Here, actually, again, I'm sorry because we have an example in Polish language. So I will be explaining what you will see on the screen, but believe me, Polish language itself is a very difficult language. So if we are able to achieve this recognition in Polish, it's much even easier to do it in English, in German, in French language. So actually here, the user is logging. The user can select what kind of question you want to ask. For example, check the status of a customer. And right now, what is in the background, when the chatbot is getting this question, check the status of customer, we run the robot in the background. The robot is checking the information in Epicor using the BEQ, and then it comes back with the answer on the Teams screen. So we can do it again, very complex models, yeah, because depending on how we will learn the AI model, we can, limit ourselves to a very simple question, but also we can try to build very difficult scenario with multiple different questions that you might have about the customer status. So that was very interesting solution as well. And actually, the people at the accounting department, they were very happy when we released them from answering all the time on this question. Good. So just making a summary of what I was presenting to you. I think the most important is to think in that way that the automation ensures the business continuity, and it also increases your competitiveness. I mean, your company will be more competitive if you will have automated process. You will be able to deliver results quicker, to deliver results cheaper than in the past. Yeah? So I think that's the most important thing about automation. Also, what is very important, do not limit yourself with thinking about automation only inside of one tool. By the way, Epicor itself, it's a great tool to automate things. Yeah? I mean, we can make integration, we can do BPMs, but sometimes you can have a situation that you might need to use also another tools and include them all together into Epicor, and that will give you much more wider scenarios, let's say, which you could work with in the system. Yeah. Also, what is important that when you think about automation, you could either automate your internal process, but also you could try to automate the processes which are, let's say, going outside of the organization. And just give you an example. I didn't put this as a case study, but it just came to my mind right now. We had one of our customers, a quite big automotive company with a sales office here in Poland, but the factory actually is in Sweden. And for them, it was like that they collect the order for the truck from the customers here in Poland, and they send this to Sweden to start the production of the truck. And actually, there is a multiple, let's say, parameters or factors about the truck, and sometimes they have what they call mismatch in the production, which means that when the customer put the order, they said, okay, I would like to have, I don't know, red color of my truck. But let's imagine a situation that the factory is telling, okay, but we can only deliver the, I don't know, red light color. Yes? And they, in their system, they were putting kind of a flag that there is a mismatch with the order, and the whole production was on stop until that was confirmed that this is fine with the customer. And that was again done by human. Yes, so every day the person from Polish office had to log into the system. It was like external system for them, and it was on AS400, so very old system. And they had to go there and just say, okay, this is okay, this is okay, this is okay. So again, very, very boring work. And we automated that, yeah, because we were able to build a condition, like a matrix of conditions, because we said, okay, there are some kind of mismatches that they can be like automatically approved. Yeah? I mean, it doesn't really need a big discussion. And so we prepared that matrix, and the robot was like every day logging into the system, and it was done automatically by the robot. Yeah? I mean, the personnel from Poland, they didn't need to do it manually anymore. Yeah? So that's interesting. Yeah? You don't need to only automate your own software, but you could also try to automate the external softwares. And what is also very good about automation, it's very easy to show the benefit on the ROI. I mean, typically, if the automation is done in the right way, it provides a very quick ROI. So that, I think, it's a great benefit. And how we see it, actually, we try to also put this concept that we see this as a kind of a technological maturity of the companies. Yeah. So typically, our customers they start with selecting ERP. Yeah? I mean, that's what they concentrate already. Typically, many years ago, they select ERP, they implemented ERP. Then what they do, they typically start thinking about integration. Okay, so after you implemented ERP, then you think, okay, so let's integrate with, I don't know, any kind of CRM or maybe a website or things like that. Yeah? Then you think about starting using tools like MIS in the production or CRM or business intelligence tool. Then you think about improving your processes and putting kind of a process management system. So you implement BPMs. Then you could think about if you were not able to automate things using integration or BPMs, then you could think about using the robotic process automation tools. And then at the end, let's say that something which is showing that the company is really on the high level of using technologies starts using the AI models to help resolving some things in your company. Great. So I come to Q&A session. I hope that there will be some questions, so that's why I make my speech a little bit shorter, just to give place for discussion for the questions.
So we don't have any typed in, but I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody, and then we can see if anybody has any questions they want to ask. So everybody should be unmuted now and able to unmute themselves if they'd like to ask any questions.
Hi, Matt Heck here with Latitude Corp. I have a quick question. With the tools that you're utilizing, any of them that you demoed today, where are they hosted themselves? Are you guys privately hosting them in your own private cloud, or are they in Azure, AWS?
Well, actually, there's no simple answer, yeah, because they could be delivered in multiple models. Well, let's take an example, UiPath, yeah, as a robotic process automation tool. So UiPath could be delivered on-premise. So some of our customers, they just host own environment, and they have the robots on own machines and orchestrator also on own servers. But also UiPath could be delivered in a cloud model, yeah. But in this case, that is actually delivered directly by the vendor, by the solution vendor. So in this case, I mean UiPath. So it's actually like with Epicor. Yeah, Epicor also has own cloud. So in this model, Epicor is hosting, and we are like a service company. So we just implement the solution. Yeah? So we would need to discuss tool by tool. Most of them are sold in both models, so on-premise and cloud. Actually, from the tools I show you, I think only Palette, so this is document management system, only that one is delivered only as a cloud solution. Yeah?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that insight. Yeah. My specific company, we not only do commercial work, but we have multiple Department of Defense contracts. And so along with that, it's very difficult for us to use a lot of cloud-only solutions unless they are hosted in very specific GovCloud compliant instances. So it's good to know that these very cool utilities can be deployed on-premise as well, because that makes it easier for us.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, when you touch this topic, that's interesting. I didn't concentrate myself on robots, on robotic process automation, because I was trying to be more generic about any kind of a solution. Yeah? But for example, if you think about robots, because the software robots, they work as a human. Yeah? They imitate the human, entering the key on the screen. Yeah? So sometimes we found this already, these cases here, that the customer, they had several solutions in the cloud, hosted in the different places, and the integration between those solutions were very difficult to achieve or expensive. Yeah? But sometimes it's much easier just to simulate the human, keystrokes by the robot. Yeah? And in some particular examples, we can do the integration much quicker when we imitate the human, enter, writing something, and so on. Then, if you compare to doing the full-scale EDI integration, it's always, it's case by case. Yeah, that's what is important. Yeah, that with multiple tools on the market, it's good to select the right one. Yeah.
All right, we do have a few questions that came up in the question box. The first one is, can any processes be automated? We have a use case to integrate a sales configurator with the Epicor product configurator.
Again, it's a tricky question. Yeah. It's very often, it's like, from technical point of view, I would say 95% of cases might be automated, yeah, from technical point of view. But also, if you think about automation, it's very often, you need to ask yourself if it's worth to automate it and if it's possible to automate it, yeah. So again, we actually have separate, big webinars about how to found the proper cases, yeah, because first of all, it's good if we are talking about high volumes. It's much easier, not much easier. You get better benefits if you automate something which has high volume, because if you automate something which you do, like, I don't know, 1 hour per month, maybe it doesn't make sense. Yeah, but if you automate things which takes you few hours every day, then of course the benefit will be much bigger. So first of all, it's a volume. It's worth to consider if the volume is high enough to get return of investment. You also need to figure out if there are rules, because if we program the robot, then there must be some rules, some algorithms which we will apply. We should also think if there is what is the number of exceptions. Again, typically in every process there are exceptions, but if there's like low factor of exceptions, and of course it makes sense to automate. If the exceptions are on a high level, then of course maybe it doesn't make sense. So again, you need to think about case by case here. And typically, by the way, when we start this kind of discovery process with our customers, we typically start with a kind of a learning session. Yeah, we explain exactly what are the factors that should be considered, what are the rules. And then after that, we create kind of workshops. We select a few candidates for the automation, and then again we look one by one and we select those which makes the most sense. And by the way, this is also about building the knowledge inside of the whole company. I remember one of our first customers, when we start automating the processes for them, we just start with 3 very simple processes. They were so simple that actually we got already a result after like 2 weeks of work. Yeah? So when they signed the contract with us, after 2 weeks of work, we already automated 2 or 3 small processes. And then we, when it was already working, we invited whole company. Yeah? So because we were automating processes for accounting department, but having that, we invited all people from all departments. We showed them. And for them, it was much easier to understand when they see the real life example from their company. It was much easier for them to understand, okay, what they can achieve. And it was, they were building the knowledge. Yeah, the people from different departments, they start coming to us, asking, okay, maybe we can automate this, maybe this. At the very beginning, of course, there was very often situation that we said, no, it doesn't make sense. This, let's try to do something else. But right now, after 2 years, they already have knowledge across all departments. They know very well what they can get from this kind of tools, and they still keep coming to us with the ideas. Right now we have like 65 different processes automated for them, and they keep coming. And right now, after 2 years, typically when they come, they already know what they can get. So right now they come with much better examples. Yeah.
And I saw Julie followed up with a few questions on here after that one. What tool is used to simulate human keystrokes other than EDI?
So to simulate the tools, actually, there are multiple tools. Ourselves, we are partner of UiPath, and actually, if you look into the robotic process automation, the UiPath right now is seen as a leader of this market. So we are partner of UiPath, and that's what we use. But also, we work with Microsoft tools, yeah, because Microsoft also they have what they call Power Automate, which is part of the whole environment of what they call Power Apps, which allows us to build forms, to use any kind of artificial intelligence models from the cloud and so on. So there's this big environment from Microsoft also. So again, it depends. Yeah, having examples, we can advise to our customer, okay, go to UiPath, which is actually bigger and more complex solution. Or if we see that the automation will be fairly simple one, then we typically recommend using the Microsoft tools.
Our next question on here. Could you repeat how long the implementation of the AP invoice example took?
It took us 6 months. But please remember that this project was like the usage of these tools, the customer is already using part of it. Yeah. So the document management system was already implemented a few years ago. And the integration from document management system to ERP, it was also implemented a few years ago. What we did, we implement OCR as like at the beginning of the whole cycle, and we implement this AI model in between. So this model which was giving the answer into which accounts specific costs should be booked. So OCR plus AI, that took us 6 months.
I can answer the next one. So somebody asked about recording of the webinar. Yes, there will be a recording of it. I will post it on the EUG website by the end of the day tomorrow, hopefully today, but if not, definitely tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. And then our next question here, have you implemented automated supplier invoice processing in Epicor already? If yes, what is the accuracy level?
I'm not sure if I got the question. Are you asking about Epicor content management module? Is that a question?
Let's see. Could you unmute yourself to ask a question or type it into the question box with a little more detail?
Yes, this is Prugel. I'm asking about earlier you showed in example that how people can just take a picture of an invoice and it automatically looks all those different fields and you can put it in your ERP system. So when we do that, what is the accuracy level if you have in prior experience, or have you already done in Epicor?
Yeah, so we use actually for OCR tool we use AB. So again, that's another software and again another partnership for us. So we are using AB, and if we implement AB, you have different methods of implementation, because you could just purely rely on the artificial intelligence, which means that when you will start using that kind of product, the level of the accuracy will be, let's say, fairly small, yeah, like 50–60%, and then it will require work. It will require operator to let's say teach the model, yeah. And of course, this level of accuracy will grow up because the model will learning from the examples, yeah. And then you could reach, again, it depends on type of documents, yeah, because for the document like invoice, which is like semi-structured document, then it's much easier, because there are some structures which could be easily recognized, and multiple vendors will have invoice number in more or less the same place, for example, yeah. So with just artificial intelligence model, we typically reach like 80–85% of accuracy. But also what we do during the implementation, we could support the AI model also with the hard-coded rules our programmers. Yeah. So what we see that the best result you get if you are using those models like combined together. Yeah. So from one hand, you have the artificial intelligence model, which is learning by themselves, but also you have some rules which are coded by the IT personnel. And that's for one of our customers where we actually built for them like I think 50, 60 hard-coded rules, and together with the AI model, and they have accuracy at 90, 94%.
Was that in Epicor or other?
No, that's outside. Yeah, I mean, AB is a separate tool. Yeah.
Thank you.
We do have a couple minutes here left. I don't have any other ones written, but would anybody else like to unmute themselves and ask any questions? All right, doesn't look like it right now.
Great. It was.
So
I have to say it was a pleasure, and I hope my English was not so bad for you.
Oh, it was great. And if everybody can see on the screen, you have your information there. So if anybody comes up with any questions, you could feel free to reach out to Peter directly. Or if you wanted to reach out to me at the Epicor Users Group, I can connect you guys as well. So thank you guys so much, and we're excited to have you on board to do some more webinars.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. It was really informative.
Thank you very much. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.